Okay, so everything will be gone. So let's run this command. I'll show you this command in a very detail when we get into the disk management. Okay, so what you have to do is dd if equals /dev/0 and then of equals x file count equals 1 byte size equals 50M. Okay, I'll hit enter. What it does is it creates a file which is about 50 megabytes. Alright, so I'm gonna give it a minute pause, and then once everybody are ready, then I'll move forward. Okay, so now if you do ls, you should see this file here, x file, and let's do the size on this file, du-h x file. So this is a 50 megabit file. So what I'm gonna do is I need to send it somewhere here. 50 megabytes is too big, right? Normally you will be dealing with a file size which is in gigs, 10 gig, 20 gig, 50 gig. So don't worry about it, but it's the same exact concept. Okay, the command is same, concept is same. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give, in this case we created a file here. In reality it could be any other file. Okay, so just this command is important. You check the du-h and then you put the file name. It will tell you how much is the size of the file. I'm gonna simply do gzip and then file name. I'll hit enter. Okay, and if I do the size of the file now, actually the size of the file will get the extension .gz. This command will automatically do it for you. Now look at the size of the file. Size of the file is 52 kilobytes, down from 50 megabytes. That is so small. I mean, 50 megabytes is pretty big in comparison to 52 kilobytes. Okay, all right. So that way you could save some space too. Now what I'm gonna do is I'll show you how to unzip it. Okay, all you have to do is type gunzip. All you have to type is, okay, give me 1 second here. I'm gonna fix this. So if I type simply gunzip and the file name, it will unzip it for you. It means uncompress it for you and bring it back to you. And if you do du-h x file, it will do that for you here. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm getting a call. Hello? Hello? Okay, so you guys can't hear me, huh? Or I cannot hear you. Okay, give me 1 second here. What's the problem? Can one of you confirm you could hear me?
I can hear you, but can you hear us?
I could hear you now.
Okay. Yeah,
Were you
because I was
talking
trying to.
earlier?
Yes, sir. I was trying to ask you a question, and because when I ran that command du dash h xfile.gz, it was telling me no such file or directory.
Yeah, you have
No
to, before that, do ls. Which one you were doing, gunzip or gzip?
gz.
Okay, first create this file here, dd. Type this command, do rf-rm and clear everything out. Okay, you wipe everything off from your present working directory. Let me know when you have done that.
Okay.
Okay, now type this command exactly the way you see it. dd space if and then the rest of it. I'll show you what this command in. The idea is I'm just creating a big file here, okay, so that you could see the difference. Okay, let me know when you're done.
I have to retype it. I had an error in my thing.
Yeah, make sure you're typing the / and all those exactly the way you see. Yeah, we'll wait for you, and I'm going to move forward unless you're caught up. Anybody else is running into issue, let me know now.
Okay, so I've already created the file, 52 megabyte, 50 MIB, copied 0.915562.
Okay, good. Do ls, and you should see the file x file.
Yes, sir. I've seen X file.
Now do du-h x file.
Okay, 50 megabyte
Yeah.
X file.
Now do gzip. Gzip space x
Oh,
file.
that's the
Then do du-h. Just type this partially and do a tab key on the keyboard. It should automatically fill the rest of the file name.
Okay. Now I'm at.
The size should be like fraction of what 50 megabytes is. Kilobytes.
Okay.
It says K, right? You guys have heard about megabytes and kilobytes, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is like about 1,000 times smaller than what you have here. So now the size is small. Now you should be able to move it around comfortably somewhere else. So if you want to copy it to another server, we'll talk about going into one server to another server from wherever you are. Okay, that is coming up shortly in a couple weeks. But before that, so now this is what it is. It's in the GZ format. the file is compressed. What are you going to do to uncompress it? Simply type gunzip and xfile.gz. What will happen is this part will be gone and the file name will return to its original name and the original size. Okay, go ahead and run this command, gunzip and the file name. Okay, then afterwards, so we are done with the file here. We are done with compressing and uncompressing a file. Now let's mess with the folder. Okay, so let's go ahead and wipe everything off. rm-rf and asterisk, clear everything. rm-rf and asterisk. It will clear everything in your folder there, in your present working directory. Now what I'm going to do is, let's create a folder mkdir data. Give it all capital letters. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, let's go into data directory and put some files in there. Okay, bring the dd command back using the up and down arrow key. Bring that command back. All you have to do is just change the file name to file1, then file2. So what we have is now the size of the data folder is 100 megabytes because we got two files which are 50 megabytes each. If you do ls-l, you could see the size too, 50 megabytes, or ls-lh, you see 50 megabytes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of this. Okay, I'm in my PWD. So what I'm going to do now is, let's check the size of the folder. Okay, I have a folder here. I'm going to see the size of the folder, data, du-h data. Okay, the size of the folder is 100 megabytes. So what we need to do is, we need to make a folder. We need to make a folder into. We need to shrink wrap the folder. Okay. Everybody knows what shrink wrap is, right? You have a palette. You have a palette so that things doesn't fall off. You could do shrink wrap, right? Yeah, like this palette here. Think this as a folder here, and all these boxes are file 1, x file 1, x file 2, right? And if you want to like bundle this up so that you're shipping this out and you don't want it to fall off, what are you going to do? You're going to shrink wrap it. Okay, is that good enough analogy? That's pretty good enough analogy, I think. So hold on, somebody's calling me. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 minute. Somebody's calling.
Can you go back to the party screen so we can at least see?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm on a call. Give me 1 second. अरे यार मैं
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
जी मैं अभी क्लास में हूँ, मैं तुझे जो है
सॉरी
ना
सर, करें आप
1 बजे
सर।
के बाद कॉल करता हूँ मैं.
ठीक है, मैं करें
ओके,
आप
चलो, अस्सलाम
सर।
वालेकुम. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, let me go back to Putty screen. So we have a data. When we were inside the data file, we have file 1, file 2. It could be many files in here. Now we need to wrap this data around and make it a one file here. So that then after that we could squeeze it. That means we could compress it. Okay, so for us to do that, what we're gonna do is okay, hold on. So what we're gonna do is we have this okay, so we have this file or a folder, okay? We have this folder named data. And in there we have X file 1. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use tar to make this we're gonna wrap around and use the tar command to make it a single file. When we do tar, is gonna make it a data dot tar. Okay, so the size is still 100 MB. Now this is a single file. What we're gonna do is we're gonna use gzip now. So we're gonna use the gzip and that file is gonna be significantly small. Dot tar. This is the original name for the file. Since we're gonna do gzip, is gonna add .gzip extension. And the size is gonna be really small here. I think it's gonna be few kilobytes here. Let me take a look here what we did yesterday. This is gonna be in kilobytes. I'm just gonna put down how much was it, like 200 kilobytes, right? 230K. Okay, the difference between megabytes and kilobytes is huge. All right. Do you understand now how this is working? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is okay. So let's follow this along, and then we'll see if you run into any problems here. So now we have a data folder. We have a data folder which is 100 megabytes. Is too big for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the tar command. TAR. So what is the command for tar? TAR hyphen CVF. Okay, and I'm gonna give the name. I'm gonna give, if I want, I could give the same name, or I could give any other different name. So I'm gonna give a different name. Big data dot tar. And what is the source? Is this here? Okay, what happened now is it will show you this, that it shrink wrapped the data folder, the data file, and then the data file too. Okay, if you do ls, see the new data is copied from here and created a file out of it. Since this is a folder, it is not going to mess with the single folder, because it has other contents in it. So it's going to make a copy out of it. But if you do ls-l, ls-lh, you see the size is still 100 megabytes. Okay? Everybody with me so far? So this is the command, and you have to give this C big data and then the tar file. So this is the new name and this is the source. And the
Mine
data
is showing 51 megabytes.
Huh?
Mine is showing 51 megabytes. Does it make a difference?
Maybe you only have one file in there.
Oh, okay.
Right? Go into data folder and do ls-lh and see if you have only one file or two files in there. And this is the new file.
Yes, I have only one file in there.
Yeah.
So mine is showing 151 megabytes. I guess I changed directly to data. Then I'll have X file 1, X file 2 in there. So I'm not sure why the 51 or 50 megabyte difference is coming from.
Maybe you have three files in there. Go back in there and see if you have three files in there.
So I'm in data directory right now, and I did ls, and it's showing X file 1, X file 2, which is what I created.
So you have two files in there, 100 megabytes each, you were saying?
Yeah, it's 151 megabyte total.
It's fine, okay? Don't worry about it.
Okay, sir.
All we have to do is we are just squeezing the size in there. So you created a folder named, a new file named Big Data. Go ahead and are you good, or you want me to follow you through? Hello?
Oh, I'm good now.
Okay. So now what happened is, so when we did this, this is what happened. Okay. So now the big data is there alongside the folder name data. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna squeeze the size of the data file here. Simple. What is it? Gzip. Okay, simple command is gzip big data dot tar. This time we don't have to give the extension, it will automatically create one for you. Okay, so now if you do ls-lh, the size is from 100 megabytes, it went to 100 kilobytes. The size of the file has significantly shrunk. So let's see if I could show you the size between kilobyte and megabyte. Okay, so let's see here. I'm not getting any good picture. Well, you got the idea here. The size, it went from megabytes to kilobytes. Okay, so I wish somebody could have put a picture. They just have a chart, not a picture. Well, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. So you get the idea here. Kilobyte is always smaller than megabytes. Then megabytes is smaller than gigabytes. Okay. So from 100 megabytes, we shrunk it to 100 kilobytes. After that, then you could email this to somebody, whoever they wants this. And whoever who receives this, what they have to do is, for example, they don't have this folder data, right? Let me go ahead and remove that. All I have is only one folder here, big data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gunzip it again. Gunzip. And I'm going to do this here, enter. Okay, gunzip. I type it wrong. And now if I do ls-lh, enter, so the big data is not in GZ mode anymore. It's in the regular .tar mode. Now we need to shrink wrap it. The size is back from 100 kilobytes to it's back to 100 megabytes. Now I'm going to unshrink, remove the shrink wrap, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the command tar -x means extract. I'm going to do tar, use the tar command -x extract. F means file, and which file I'm extracting? Big data.tar. I'll hit enter. I should have two files now. One is the original data file which was gone, is back, and this one is there. So now if I could go into my data folder, I should expect my two fat files sitting in there, 50 megabytes. Okay, don't stress too much about it. Most of the time you're gonna look it up anyway, so it's not like a death sentence. You just have to figure it out. Once you look at when you look at the instructions, you guys are able to figure it out, right? Okay, so that is what it is. All right, I'm gonna give a 2-minute pause and ask for any questions. If not, then I'll continue on.
Yeah, can you explain when you were unzipping the big data file at the command at the end of the command it was GZ. What was that for?
The gzip automatically adds it for you.
Oh, okay.
But the tar file, it doesn't. You have to give .tar.
Oh, okay.
When you gunzip it, it will remove it. It's just compressing and uncompressing the file, okay? That's what it is doing.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so let's continue. We are end of the basic commands here. Okay, so we're gonna start new topic, which is directory structure. I know we talked about directories a little bit, but there's a lot more to it. So let's go ahead and start working on it. So okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna do this and do this. Okay. So now go back to CD and get rid of everything. Clear. And if you do ls, you shouldn't have anything there. Okay, now let's type pwd. Okay, so pwd is, this is where you are. This is where you are when you log in. This is where you get thrown into. That is, when you come into your home, you come in through some door, right? I usually come through my garage. Some people come through their front door. Okay, so if you are a user, every user has their own dedicated front door and their own dedicated space. So this is where you end up land. So everybody would have /home/Zafar. Okay, so this is your home directory. Okay, so if I do home here, if I do cd ... I go up one directory here. I'm not in Zafar anymore. I'm in home directory now. And I didn't get error. That means I have access to it. If I type tree here, I should see, I won't be able to see what's inside the other people's directory here, but I could see that these directories are there. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to explain it here. Okay, so give me 1 second here. Okay, so what is happening now is, so far Okay, so far I'm in my directory here, right? This is my directory. Okay, and we have other users directory here. So my directory is /home/Zafar. Okay, and then I have another person right next to me. He has his own directory, which is gonna be /home/Adil. And then I have another person here who, oops, how do I undo this? And I have /home /Imtiaz. Okay. Similarly, I have a lot of other directories here, so I'm not going to go through all of them. I can't use I have all these directories here. In fact, I have a lot of other directories here, right? So all these directories are sitting, all of them are sitting in another directory called home. All these directories are inside this directory. Okay, all these directories are inside the directory called home. Okay, and along the side home directory. Now home directory is going to be even smaller now. So the home directory, there is another directory on top of home directory. Okay, what is that directory? Give me 1 second here. How do I do this? Okay, right next to home directory is another directory here. There are other directories right next to home directory. There are other directories right next to, I'm not used to this here. So there are other directories. There are more directories here. Okay. So all these directories are sitting in a master directory which starts even on top here. So it starts right there on the top. Okay, and this directory is just a slash. And everything else is underneath it. This is a horrible picture here. I may have to do it again. So let me get out of this here. In fact, hold on. Let me see if I could find a directory structure picture. Then everything else would be easier. You know what? Let's take a 10-minute break. In the meantime, I'll find a good picture and then I will continue. All right, let's take a 10-minute break. We'll be back around 11:25. Break starts now. So what I have here is so far. So if I do PWD, so far what I've been doing is I've been restricted to my own home directory. Correct. So far, when I do PWD, so what will happen is okay, hold on, let's quit. Okay, I think this is good here. Okay. So what has happened so far, anytime you log in, this is where you would have been in there. Okay, whenever I log in, this is my home directory. Okay, this is my home directory here. And if Adil is logging, this is your home directory, Imtiaz, and all this. Okay, so far this is where I've been restricted to. In fact, this my home directory is actually inside home, and then home is inside the directory slash. Okay, slash is the topmost directory. There is nothing above it. So the topmost directory is called root. A slash is called root here. Topmost. Okay, and inside root we have home. Okay, and then we also have, I'm going to give you other examples. Alongside of home, there are other directories in there. Okay, so I'm going to just type that up in there so that you have let me just have the direction here. Okay, inside home there are other important directories called, I'm going to show you in a minute here. Okay, so the other important directories in there are /etc inside root. So it will become slash, everything that starts with slash is an absolute path here. So for home, I don't have to write home here. I could just have written Zafar here for Zafar. But I'm writing the full path. Okay, why is it coming full path here? Because it's coming from here. I'm adding this part. Okay, hold on. This iPad is too slick. So if you look at the address here, my address is being added from here. This part is getting added to my address, and top of that, my address, my name of my directory is Zafar, right? So this is the full address. And this is the full address inside the directory I'm written there. Okay. So inside home directory, inside root alongside home, there is a other directory called etc. Okay, and /var. And /dev. Okay, and there is another directory called mnt. And opt. And what else I have in there is proc. Okay, it's not enough space in here. And temp. Remember, everybody got confused with temp here. This is where the temp directory is, tmp. TMP means it's a temporary directory. You could throw in, everybody have access to the temporary directory. You could throw in stuff in there, and you could remove it later on. It's like a temporary place, and USR. And of course, all this directory has other directories inside them. Okay, so we're gonna go through each directory here. All right, give me 1 second here. Let me take a screenshot and I'll put it in a document so everybody has this. This is not a rocket science, and in fact, you don't have to worry about it too much. What will happen is okay. So let's take a look at the directories here visually. So here, now everybody go to PWT, right? Wherever you are, you should see your /home/Zafar in there. So everybody type cd ... You went up the directory, so you are in home now. If you do PWT, you are in home, and if you do ls, now you are seeing other people's directory here. Everybody agree with me? So over here, I just gave only 4 examples here, but in fact, you have everybody's directory here, and all these people are on the same directory level. Everybody would have /home in there and then their own directory name. Even if you type cd ... now you went into, you are here now. You are here in the home, now you are into root. So this directory is called root. If you do PWD, all you see is just a /. Okay, this / is referred to as root. Okay, so I'm gonna write down here /. I'm gonna say this is a root directory. This is topmost directory. There is nothing more you could go above than this directory. Okay, so let me put this here. This is the topmost directory, and this is referred to as root directory. Okay, let me clear the screen. If I do PWD, I'm still in root. Let's do ls there. Okay, so here inside /root, this is our home directory. This is where everybody's users goes in there. And then in there, another directory called root. Another directory called root. So what is this directory? This directory, another directory called root, is a root administrator directory. Administrator home directory. Like everybody has your home directory, right? This is system administrators home directory. We are using as so far we use the system as a user, not as an administrator. We are getting there. Soon we will be using and have full control of what you could do with the operating system and everything when you become an administrator. Okay, that's probably a week from now, or yeah, next week. Okay, good. Now actually after the class I will make this look even nicer, but right now just don't worry about it too much. Okay, after that let's focus on bin directory. Okay, this is informational, you don't have to worry about it, anything like that. This is purely informational and just stick with it. So there is a directory called bin. Okay, it contains all the binary user commands. If you remember, when we did which command here, right? We did a which command, right? Everybody remember that? Okay, it's not coming up here. So what happens is, just remember that all the binary commands for the users are sitting in bin directory. Okay, this is the bin directory. Okay, after that, what do we have here? We have boot. Okay, so boot is /boot. It contains system bootable files. Okay, so the information here is beyond this class here. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. After that, the directory which is showing up here is /dev. Okay, this directory is dev here. If you go into cd dev, what will happen? If you repeat wd, you will see /dev. Okay, that's why I'm putting /dev. This directory has all the attached devices. All the attached devices information. What are the attached devices? Example, hard drive, CD-ROM, and network card, etc. Okay, good. Now what I'm going to do is, what is my next drive is etc/etc. Okay. What does this drive contains? I'm sorry, this directory contains? It contains the configuration files. It contains the configuration files. Okay, it contains the configuration file here. You don't have to worry about it. I'm telling you, all these things doesn't matter. I'm just saying so that you don't get, confused. All this is just informational here. Okay, and it's also referred to as etc. If your coworker said go into etc directory, he or she is referring to etc directory. Okay? etc directory, etc. After that, home, this is our directory we were stuck in for so long. So this is the regular user directory. This is home directory for regular user, for users. Example, what is the example? /home/Zafar. Okay, Everybody with me so far? Okay, great. After that, we have /lib and /lib64. So what this is this contains, I'll tell you, they both contains similar stuff. Lib and /lib64. What does it contain? It contains system library files shared by application. So when you install, for example, if you install Microsoft Office on your Windows system, it is getting attached to the Windows operating system, right? So there are some shared files in the operating system that application need to use. That's what this, for Linux environment, this is where those shared files are. And here's the folder called media. So it's a blank, I think. So far it's been unused. So I don't worry about this at this moment here. So, and then this is /emnt. This mnt is usually empty file, empty folder, but used for mounting the CD drives. Don't worry about this, what it means here. I'll show you a little later here. Mounting to MNT drive. Etc. Okay. And now the next one is /opt. Okay, it contains third-party application software files. Example is everybody probably heard about Oracle, SAP, or a database. Okay, so whenever you install it, it goes and sits in there. Okay, the next one is /proc. It contains your memory information. It contains the active memory information, I should say. Example, system processes. System processes. Okay, and /root. /root, I already talked about it. This is a system administrator home directory. And there is another directory called run. This is unused. I barely use this here, just sitting there and getting wasted. I don't know what to do with it. So after that, it has been. Okay, has been, it contains root user, which is administrator. Root user commands. I'll show you a little later what has been has in there. And I should say here, this is a system administrator home directory. Okay, after that, okay, so we have SRV. I don't think we use this still anymore. Yeah. So SRV is sometimes it shows up, it doesn't show up. So I'm not even gonna even write it here. If I'm not writing, don't worry about that directory. It may have just got created somehow. Okay, so we have /sys. /sys is unused. There is nothing being used with it, and I should say /srv2. Okay, and then we have a temporary folder, tmp. Okay, this is a real system generated folder. This is used to keep temporary files. And regular users like us users has access to this directory, and can write to this directory. Okay, after that, what do we have is after that we have USR. What is USR? What does USR has in it is it has some backup files in there. Okay, so I went to cd here, clear. I go to cd USR. I do ls here. So these are, it got some files in it, but these are system generated files which are keeping it as a backup. It contains the backup of some of the system files and older actually folders, files and folders containing optional commands. Okay, so if you're not understanding, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's not big of a deal. And the last one is var. So var, it contains system logs and logs generated by application, by installed software, I should say. Okay, that's all to it. There is nothing big about this thing. This is, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to memorize it. You don't have to do any of this stuff here with this. All you have to do is just remember how these things are inside each other. Okay, so it's only few directories here, but now generally there are a lot of directories here inside each directories. If you do ls, there are so a handful of directories are showing up here, right? But if you do tree, there are a lot of directories inside each directory. That is going to take, like, the system is going to go crazy going through all these directories here. Okay, So that's how the operating system is built. It's literally a tree, branches and trees and all that. Okay, if you look closely here, it does looks like a tree, right? A root inside upside down tree. This is root. Okay, this picture is okay. This is root, and inside root we have branches, and we have trees. All these are leaves, and these are directories. So that's how you should imagine here. Look, in the end, it's coming up with 20,000 directories. That means folders, and it has about 200,000 files in there. Where are those coming? Oh, look at us. We are sitting somewhere, down here or in the home directory. So don't worry about this. It's a lot of stuff in there. Those are the smaller stuff that is building up our operating system. All right, let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break, and we'll be back at 12:05, and then we'll work for another half hour. Then we'll call it a day. Okay. Hey, anybody have any questions? Wait for me to come back, and then I'll answer your questions. All right, bye. So let me get started here. Another 30 minutes, and I will wrap this up for today. And can one of you confirm you could still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Now, what I'm gonna do is next week, everybody will get your own. Okay, so I didn't realize I was caught up. So next week, what I'll do is everybody will get your own server, okay? Starting next week, so that you will have a full access to it. Right now, everybody is logged in with your username, right? Next week, when I have everything ready, you will log in with your own server, and you will have full access, administrator access, okay? So we'll work on that next week here. Today, let me talk about a little brief history about this Linux operating system. Okay, where is this coming from? Okay, so I'm going to talk about brief history. Okay, so it all started in 1960s, okay? Can somebody tell me what is this? AT&T, right? Everybody heard about AT&T? Okay. All this Linux operating system, it came from AT&T. So there were two people at AT&T who developed, they used to call Bell Labs, okay? And this Bell Lab is named after Alexander Graham Bell. You remember him from Telegraph and all that, right? He started a company called Bell Labs with his last name attached to it. So the AT&T is essentially like a 150-year-old company, I think. 1870s, let's put that date there. Okay, so in 1960s, what they did was they are having problems. So back in the day, if you're working for AT&T, it was a big deal, right? It was a big employer in the US. And that's the best technology ever you could have. So in 1960s, what they did was they developed a operating system is developed in 1960s. 1960s, and it's called Unix. Okay, and official release date for Unix operating system is December 31st, 1969. Okay, so, and it was to use for their internal purpose. Okay, so they built this operating system, and they designed it to use it for internal use. Okay, but they were having trouble, they designed it so good. They designed it, but they didn't realize they designed a really good operating system. So they were having troubles using it. So they were not using it. And they say like, okay, since we are not using it, just make it free. So they thought they can't use it. Using efficiently, and they're not able to sell it to anybody either. So what they did is in 1987, they released it. 1987, after 20 years, they just made it public. Okay. And whatever the code they had for this operating system, they make it open source. Open source operating system. So anybody in the world can get this source and then build their own operating system, okay? So what IBM did was, everybody heard about IBM, they took the source and made it AIX. And it's only going to run on IBM hardware. The Unix operating system is free, but the hardware is not free. So that's how they started making money. It's used on IBM hardware. And another big company, HP, came along, and they used the code Unix and created their own operating system called HPUX. And then the same story. It's free, but it's used on HP hardware. So you have to buy the HP hardware for that operating system to work. We'll give you the operating system, but you can't really use it unless you buy our expensive hardware. Same thing happened with Sun Microsystem, and they created Solaris, and it uses their Sun platform. Okay, so the code was still sitting there. In fact, you could go and download that code for yourself and create your own operating system. If you know what you're doing, you should be able to do it. But in 1991, this dude named Linus Torvalds, I think he named it after his name, first name, Linus Linus Torvalds, and he took the code and made it and created Linux. Okay, and of course you have to keep it free here. So when he made it free, created the code using the Unix operating system, he created Linux. he called it Linux, okay? In fact, you could take the source code and create your own operating system and give it your name to it, whatever name you want. So now the good part about this is Linux is it's a hardware independent. Okay, and it's free to anybody. And so anybody can take Linux source code and create your own OS, own operating system. Okay, but OS must be free. When you take the source code and create the operating system on top of it, it should be free. And who is managing this free operating system? Big organizations, universities, and individuals are all contributing to Linux operating system. As of now, every big corporation, IBM, they have their own. At the same time, they are contributing to Linux operating system. Red Hat, big universities, University of Chicago, all those big universities, they somehow contribute to it. Okay, you could do that too. You could go sign up, and if you think you have something good, you could write up a code and submit to the GNU. That's where you could submit, and if they think it's a good thing that you added to the operating system, they will include it in the release. Okay, but it has to be something unique. So new tools and security is added for free. And Linux is also called Unbreakable Linux. Okay, that's all there to it. And the next thing, let's talk about distribution. That means the companies who took this and created their own operating system is called distribution. It's called distro for short. Okay, and did you put sugar in it? Yeah. So distro is, your coworker say, what is the distro you're using? Then you will say, oh, I'm using Red Hat or whatever. So there is a company called Red Hat. Red Hat. We are learning Red Hat Linux, everybody. This is the most dominating Linux in America. I should say the whole world, in fact. Red Hat, RHEL stands for Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay, so what is happening now is you could go to Red Hat Linux. And this is the company they are using. It's actually owned by IBM now. It says Unix-like. Operating system family name, Unix. So at my work, we are using Red Hat and all that. You could sign up and sign up for. This is free, but what is not free is the support. CentOS, CentOS Community Enterprise Operating System, Fedora. All these are free. You could download it and use it whenever you want. Okay, this is from company name or Red Hat. There is another company called Oracle, and they have called OEL. They took the Linux code and they're calling it Oracle. It's free. Oracle Enterprise Linux, okay? A lot of big corporations are using Oracle too. SUSE, this is SUSE Linux. It's a German company. It's free, and most of the time it's using SAP on it because SAP is a German product, so that's why they are using it, I think. All the commands we have learned so far, all these are going to work on this here. Debian is a Debian operating system. You could download it. In fact, just look up all this here. Ubuntu, all this is coming from Linux. And these are all, I think it's South African. And this is usually on a desktop. Environment most of the time. That's what Ubuntu is used for. And Apple, what does Apple is using? iOS. iOS is nothing but Linux, guys. I'm telling you, it's based on BDS. iOS, Mac OS, Apple Watch, Watch OS. Even your all those things are Linux here. Google, what is Google is using? Android. All this coming from here. Android, and even your new set tops like Apple TV and all this, it's running Linux. Set top, it's running what is set tops like Apple TV, Flex, what else is out there? Chromecast, I think, yeah. And the routers have Linux running on it here, but I think it's called iOS also. Cisco iOS. Okay, and the whole internet is using some of this Linux here. So top 1 million, if you have 1 million websites, right? Out of that, 900,000 are using Linux. Why? Because you don't have to pay money for it. Or the only thing you have to pay for it is the support. So if they hire you, they have to pay top money. They're saving money on the operating system. If you want to go buy a Windows hardware, I mean, I worked in Windows environment. It's pretty nice. If you get like Windows 2019 cost, license cost, right? Okay, so there's a basic one, there's standard. And if you want to get like a data, for big companies, if they want to get data center environment thing, it's like, there is a money involved to it. If you go and get or installed Red Hat or anything else is free. So the pricing part is free for the most companies here. So that's why Linux is most dominating when it comes to the server operating system, okay? All right, good. So now let's talk about RPM. RPM is a package management technology, okay? Came up with Red Hat. Red Hat company, when it was working on, it came up with installing the package stuff, right? So it's called RPM, Red Hat Package Manager. So, or else it's called a RPM distro. And which operating systems are RPM distro? Red Hat, Oracle, SUSE, and Debian. So you could all install this software operating system, and voila, the commands you learned so far, they're all same exact commands. It's all gonna work the same exact way, just the name and the color is different. That's it. Okay, so now, okay, so let me spend another 10 minutes here. Anybody has any questions here? Anything you learned, all these things, I mean, the directory structure, all that, don't worry about it too much. You don't need to worry about it. The only thing you might want to run into is the etc directory and var directory, because you need to go in there and check the logs. Okay, and what else? Nothing else. So we are done with the basic commands and all that. Next week, everybody will get their own own hardware. So let me see if it's ready here. I don't think it's ready. So this is the box everybody's connected to right now, and here I'm using this. So I prepared some of you guys the hardware here. So I will make it ready for everybody, and then I will give it to you next week, because I need to still work on it. I'll show you how to connect to it, and then I want everybody to use as much as you want, and even try to break it. The more you learn, the more you work on it, the more you break it, the better it gets for you, okay? I'm telling you to break the operating. So in here, even now, if you think something might happen and you're holding a command back, don't. Try to break it, okay? If this is all free here, I mean, it's not going to cost me or you anything. If the system goes down, don't worry about it. I have a backup. But try to break it. Try to do, if you find a command online, go ahead and run it. No problem. Don't be scared here. The only thing you would be scared is when you go onto a job and on the production system, if you mess up, is going to be a big problem for you. But if you know how to break it, see, the lawyers know how to break the law, right? Because they are the one who knows the law, or loopholes and all that. So I'm telling you, go ahead and use this resource wherever you are, and you should be really good here. Try to go and type all these commands on the go on your iPhone. Everybody has the app on the iPhone, right? And I checked that app. I put it, somebody put it in the chat. That is really good for Android guys. Go ahead and use that. The more you use it, the better it gets. So there is no reason for you guys to not to complete the assignment and all that, okay? Okay, good. So I still have some time here, but I'm gonna end it now. Because next week we're gonna connect to your own operating own server and work on it. So that's it for now. I think what I'll do is I'll make this really good and put it online, and then you could connect here. Okay, and also the website, I think the website was giving some problem, right? If the website was giving problem, I fixed it. Is just type feb21.zmprotech.com. You will be redirected here. Okay, because I put everything on AWS now. It's gonna work just fine. I don't have to worry about the certificate anymore. So Ishtiaq, you were having some question. Do you have any questions now before we end? Okay. If no questions, then we're going to end now. And then whenever it's ready, I'm going to upload it and then put it in the chat. Next week, we'll start working on how to connect to another server and also how to connect, not to connect, we'll start working on disk management and LVM. Okay, after that, the user administration is coming and the permissions are coming. So how many weeks it's been already? It's been close to 4 weeks, right? We started on 6th. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is 4th week. And then we will be done by May 1st. The whole month of April and May 1st will be done. And by 10th, I would need the document. So everybody, I sent a document to everybody to start putting in what you're learning so far. I would need that document